Philippine basketball is in mourning after the heartbreaking loss of young players, a grade 8 student, Ashlyn Abong of National University, and most recently Israel Friday of the UP men's basketball team. Their untimely deaths cut short bright futures and serve as a reminder that safety must always come first and that no dream is worth more than an athlete's life. In just a few months, Philippine basketball has mourned the sudden deaths of 3 young players who collapsed during training. Their passing shook the community and raised painful questions. Our athletes are being pushed too far, too fast, and without enough safeguards. One of those who has been at the forefront of raising awareness is wellness advocate Cara Malonga. Her passion for athlete safety was born out of personal and professional experience. A mom, an athlete, and a medical practitioner, she advocates to be more proactive in looking after the athletes.
My advocacy with sport safety on a larger scale started when I was working formally with Games and Amusements Board. So I used to work for GAB as within the sport safety aspect of it in trying to develop or in developing yung protocols natin for the return to sports nung COVID-19 pandemic. And then that was when I was exposed, I suppose, to what was really the condition of the Philippines at that time when it comes to sports safety. As a mother of, athletes myself, so student athletes, it is imperative that we provide safe conditions for our student athletes for them to be able to play.
There is also a clear safeguard from the government, reminding everyone that protecting athletes is not only the duty of schools and teams, but a responsibility upheld by national law. But what does Cara think about it?
We do have the Republic Act 10676, which is the Student Athletes Protection Act. But I do feel that it needs a bit more enforcement because it doesn't really focus more on the health and safety aspect of athletes, but more on the commercialization, the recruitment. So whether they try to improve that law or come up with a new law in terms of a health and safety act for athletes, not only for student athletes, but professional athletes, student athletes, grassroots, overall, just to be able to promote that culture of safety. Ang safety kasi gastos eh. So it is really seen as, a big expense. But then come to think of it, how much can you value a life if untoward incidents do happen? We do have a culture na medyo mapagtiis tayo. So, you know how we are. Like, Filipinos are very resilient. Rest is for the weak. Parang yun yung mindset natin eh. Push lang. And not to say that that's a bad thing, but I do feel that at this time of age, we do need to find that balance.
Malonga believes education is the first line of defense. Athletes, parents, and coaches must learn to recognize warning signs, whether it's dehydration, chest pain, or unusual fatigue, and respond before it's too late.
Keep a diary of your symptoms para alam mo kung ano yung nagtitrigger dun sa symptoms mo. Kasi may mga tao na, so not to really become technical about it, like for example, umupo siya, tumayo, may changes in blood pressure, so pwede din yun, kaya siya nahilo. So the more that you keep a track of your symptoms, keep a diary, what day, what caused it, anong ginagawa mo nung time na yun, anong kinain mo, ganyan, mas mabibigyan ng information yung doktor at makakatulong dun sa diagnosis sa'yo or yung care plan na pwedeng ibigay sa'yo. May mga gadgets na din tayo actually ngayon na pwede ring makatulong.
She stresses that awareness begins with listening to one's own body.
Pinaka-importante lang talaga na you pay attention to your body. Kasi minsan, before the body screams, it whispers. And sadly, with athletes, sometimes we do have the mindset that we need to push, we need to rest. Yun nga, rest is for the weak. Well, rest is actually needed by our body to be able to regenerate and recuperate. So it provides that longevity for athletes. So it's just about finding the balance really and proper guidance as well.
At the University of the Philippines, the unexpected loss of a young player became a wake-up call. Since then, the school has taken steps to strengthen its safeguards. For UP, athlete safety is now treated as a responsibility, not an afterthought.
Na sabi mo kanina, the physical test or medical examination na ina-undergo ng freshman, ng UP freshman. Pero nabanggit mo rin na meron pang isang test specifically for athletes. Will this be like i-implement all across sports? Is it for incoming freshmen lang? Is it going to be annually, biannually? Meron na ba kayong mga ganong plans in place on what specific mechanisms or further testing will be done to the athlete? Hindi naman kasi lahat ng sport pare-pareho ng requirement kumbaga. Yung contact sport, definitely iba yan sa ball sports, iba sa racket sport. So yung required kind of physical testing maybe or medical mental or whatever that is should be different from one sport to the other.
Yung tinatanong mo kanina, yung mga pre-sports participation natin, ginagawa na to since siguro mga 4 or 5 years ago. Para ito actually apart from the freshman requirement of medical checkup, meron to specifically talaga para sa student athletes natin na yearly siya. Kasi hindi lang ito yung heart condition na tinitingnan natin dito, kundi yung mga piniprevent natin yung mga injuries nila, no? So tinitingnan nila ng mga ortho doctors natin kung yung mga tuhod ba ay medyo mahina, no? Syempre katulad ng sabi mo, iba-iba yung mga requirements kasi yung mga chess players natin or even yung mga meron na tayong mga esports, no? So yung mga bagay na yan nag-iiba, pero just to make sure sumasali rin sila diyan, no? Kasi kailangan talaga physically conditioned ka even if your sport is a mental one, no? Kailangan mo pa rin mag-undergo ng physical examination. So yes, ongoing na yan. Ang nagkataon lang kasi, Sheila, dito kay Israel is that kaka-admit niya lang kasi sa UP. In fact, he wasn't enrolled yet. Maybe a few days before his physical exam, doon nangyari yun, no? Kakapasok niya pa lang sa program, maybe a couple of days more, yung physical exam niya doon for freshman, he will have to underwent that, no? Hindi niya inabot. Hindi niya inabot yun. Plus, yung sinasabi kong testings for our student athletes, hindi niya rin inabot yun kasi nga bago lang talaga siya dumating. So well, in hindsight, ang dapat natin sigurong gagawin diyan ng programa is that any recruit na darating sa UP, even before stepping into the court or in the field, will have to have clearance from our medical experts.
Usually kasi 'di ba sa training or sa games, wala namang medical doctor present. 'Di ba? Para ang pinaka closest to that will be the physical therapist. Minsan may strength and conditioning coach pa during the practice. Pero in that situation na nangyari kay Israel, what do you think would be a better approach? Kailangan na ba may doctor or kailangan na ba na etong PT, SNC natin mas knowledgeable when it comes to first aid? Did you ever consider, was that part of the plans to further kumbaga mapaayos o mapa-improve ang sports safety within the team?
You are right. Doon sa mga ibang doon sa mga ibang sports programs natin, wala tayo talagang doktor, no? We have the presence of tama ka, yung physical therapists, but we make sure na itong mga coaches natin are equipped para dito sa mga first aid, no? As a program, we gave them seminars, no, para sa first aid, sa ano ba 'tong tinatawag nito, sa mga resuscitation, ano, lahat ng 'yan pinagdaanan nila dun sa before the beginning ng ano natin. This is actually done by Red Cross, no? Ginawa ito para sa UP.
To summarize everything up, so parang meron na ba talagang specific steps or mechanisms that you plan to put in place para lang to make sure na yung inyo the sport safety in general, this kind of situation somehow will be avoided.
Una nga natin ginawa diyan, no, ang itong first sem, paumpisa pa lang kasi yung first sem sports, is that kailangan talaga natin ng clearance, and that's we are requiring right now with all our sports program. No, we need to go back again and be tested, and to make sure that before we can go and compete, we need to have some medical clearance. But even more than that, yung kanina yung binabanggit mo, yung presence ng doctors, in fact kasi nga meron tayo, ang UP has a hospital, di ba, yung PGH, a lot of them are volunteering talaga to give their services, no, to be present. Nakakatabangan ng puso kasi sila mismo ang sumusulat, "Coach, I can volunteer," just to make sure na healthy yung mga athletes natin. And I really believe that we need to have a medical doctor in if not doon sa lahat ng teams, doon sa mga teams na talagang very yung very tedious yung kanilang physical competition.
The same concern is shared by a physical therapist from a PBA team, Coach L.A. Rasho, who works daily with elite athletes. While professional players benefit from advanced monitoring and medical support, he says safety should not be a privilege. It should be standard for every athlete at every level.
Pero kaming protocol on kung paano yung pinaka-process namin, kung sino yung tatawag ng ambulance, kung kailangan man. Meron naman kaming standby driver, may standby vehicle din yung team.
Okay.
So, yun yung immediate na dadalhin. Tapos, lahat naman to sa lahat ng games or even sa mga practice venues, we need to identify yung nearest hospitals with emergency room facilities na pwede naming dalhin doon in case na hindi na kailangan talaga ng mga ganong treatment or ganong interventions.
Sa PBA or sa team ninyo specifically, meron ba silang nire-require like na physical examination test or mga additional athletic conditioning?
Nire-require sa PBA na magkaroon ang mga staff at ang mga players na magkaroon ng physical exam. So nandito yung I think it's part of the requirements of the GAB, of the Games and Amusement Board. So protocol siya. I mean, kailangan lahat ng players and staff. This is a yearly thing. So may mga partners na centers na where we do our physical exams, or minsan yung merong mga partner GAB, may mga partners ang GAB na nagko-conduct ng physical exams. So these are dito yung papasok yung x-rays, blood tests, drug tests. Tapos dito rin in-incorporate yung ECG saka 2D echo sa mga players natin. If you remember yung kay Royder Cabrera, PBA 3x3 on bubble. So nagkaroon ng similar case. After that incident, dun mas lalo naging strict and mas naging tedious yung mga pre-participation screening natin sa mga players.
He is the team's PT and SNC, but is also trained in basic life support, emphasized that there is still room for improvement in their emergency response measures.
If you ask me, syempre, mas okay kung mas makakapag-produce pa tayo or mas magiging uniform yung natin, yung medical screening natin. So, ang alam ko sila, Dr. Randy Molo and Dr. Canlas, isa sa mga prominent orthopedic and orthopedic doctors natin sa Philippines. They are pinaka-advocacy nila is to create a pre-physical activity screening for before participating to sport practice mismo. So ayun, so this comprises of ECG test, EEG test, tapos may mga questionnaires, screening, no. So I think kailangan mag-usap-usap mag-collaborate lahat ng mga physical therapists or medical representatives of the different PBA teams and even collegiate teams or commercial league teams para magkaroon ng standard kung paano i-approach yung mga ganun, para maiwasan na yung mga future na incidents.
The passing of young players have left wounds that the basketball community will never forget. But from tragedy comes a call to action to strengthen safety measures, to educate athletes and coaches, and to ensure that dreams are pursued with discipline and care. Because in the end, true victory in sports isn't measured only in championships, but in protecting the lives of those who play the game. Reporting for the Scorecard, Shiela Salaysay, Bilyonaryo News Channel.